And we are live. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. Leicester have just drawn 1-1 away to a 10-man Southampton team. Alex, where do we start? What do you think? What do you think about that?
Honestly, I think it was horrible.
Really?
I honestly think we went into this game. They went into this game expecting 3 points, and they were taught a lesson in humility, where you could really see the way that they were playing, and it was more of this. We kind of just deserve these 3 points, especially after it became a 10-man squad. It just completely was a. They got what they deserved is the most honest way I can put it. It was boring, painful. I just wasn't impressed.
No, I wasn't either, but maybe I'm just an optimist. I didn't feel as bad as you. They were trying to get stuff. However, again, Southampton were just resilient. They just didn't give up, and they kept, from the first minute, I was like, oh, Southampton are here to get revenge for that semi-final. And when we went to play, I just think it was like, they tried. I think it's one of the criticism when we had Dewan on the podcast, and when he had criticism of Brendan Rodgers. I remember watching him and he goes, look at this, where they tried to pass it into the net almost. Maddison, but then there was Maddison was trying shots outside of the box, but nobody was trying to I don't want to criticize the team too much, because at times it was like, it nearly worked out. It wasn't as good, but I don't know if I'm being too critical of that, because they were trying, but it just didn't work, in my opinion. And part of that was, again, credit to Southampton. I mean, McCarthy, from me, had an incredible game. Walker-Peters did fantastically well. Salasu, even though he's a substitute, to come on and put in a performance like he did, I think deserves credit as well.
Yeah, you got to credit Southampton, but, I think you are kind of looking at this in a very, I tried to look at this in the most positive way I could possibly do. I just couldn't. Honestly, most games I'm so positive, even in a in a loss or a draw, but it was bad.
Yeah.
If I even say that is it had to be bad, and from what I saw, it was pretty bad.
Okay. Fair enough. So, okay, so for me, as they try. For me, I've seen Leicester teams over the years not even try. And the fact that they tried and they went out there and they gave it a go, for me, I won't say it was enough, but it was a good indication, because I don't know, maybe it was because normally, Alex, we agree on pretty much everything. But this is the time we disagree, which is okay. But again, it's interesting. So we'll go on to the first. Obviously, let's just get the beginning of it. I said Southampton starting very strong, and then 10 minutes happened and that red card. And even as Leicester fans, we're going, that's dumb. That is really, it's a contact sport. He followed through. Again, it was accidental. He didn't mean to. He got the ball first, but that was a really stupid decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of looked at it multiple times. I feel like it could have gone either way. So the end of the day, with Vardy, having he might have had that opportunity to score even at the end of it all. But it's tough, especially the way that VAR's been going of late. You really, you don't know what you're going to expect. I think that's the best way to put it. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Didn't help Leicester at all. So when you look at it like that, that's one thing that you can look at.
I'll agree with you. For the majority of the performance, it didn't seem like we had 10 men.
Oh.
Sorry, they had 10 men. It seemed like it was 11 versus 11. And that's probably one of the most annoying things. We've seen teams in the past where they didn't hold their head. They were like, right, we're going to try and play. And Leicester, again, they just tried to play the football that they used to play. And it just didn't. There was no killer sucker punch. Vardy wasn't on it that much. Iheanacho was just being, I think, marked out the game really, really well. I think Timothy Castagna didn't do too much. Yuri Tillemans, who I thought would have a phenomenal game today, putting balls through, didn't do anything too much. But we get a draw, and I know that's not ideal, but it's still a point in the right direction, because we've still built up a good lead to secure Champions League football.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to get my mind set across to, every point matters. So I look at it in the sense of, getting a point in this is better than no points at all.
Mm-hmm.
But
Thanks.
this was a clear and present opportunity to get 3 points. A 10-man Southampton team, like last year, we'd be laughing if we were given this at the end of the season. To see something like this, especially in the season that we've had, we could really have distanced ourselves from 5th spot, and just to be only able to manage 1 point is frustrating. And I even would say we are lucky to get that 1 point.
Yeah, I think thingy was it called at the moment. Christy said the same thing. So for me, it's not a point that we deserved. Again, if they didn't get that penalty, if they didn't get the penalty, then the fact is we'll come into this and we'll have a very different. If they didn't get the penalty, then sure. I mean, the penalty was a decision. I'm like, by the letter of the law, it's correct, but in that position, do you expect anybody to do anything else? Kind of, my hands would come across my face, and I looked at it and I went, "Oh yeah, I get it." But what's he supposed to do in that situation? Like, Kelechi Iheanacho can't get his hands out of the way.
Yeah, I think it's more frustrating because it's out of anything that could possibly happen, that's what's going to happen. And I think that's I think what you said is perfectly said. How the heck are you going to get your hands out of the way in that situation? So. Bad luck. That is just bad luck. But I will say again, the fact that Evans is the one that scores it to tie up the game is a miracle in its own way. So
it sums it up with a header as well.
Yeah.
Like we don't saw. And again, that's a good point, actually. Maybe I'm being positive. That was a great assist by Nacho. He didn't have much room, but he managed to get the ball away and get Evans in the box at least.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that you can look at is that Nacho's still contributing in other ways if he's not scoring, and he definitely contributed to my fantasy Premier League team, so I'll take that. But
positive, you see it positive.
Yeah, it's a positive, right? I got to catch up somehow. But you know what? Like I'm trying to pick out the positives, and that's where I'm stuck today because. Really, no one really stood out. Usually in a bad performance, you have that one player that sticks out. But even as I'm going through my head right now, I can't really pick out that one player that really, changed the way of the game. You could kind of give it to Evans because he was the one that tied it up. But other than that, there's really nobody.
Yeah, there was, again, David's put a good point as well. Took too long to get going, which I agree as well. Lee's selection was poor. I don't think so. I mean, why would you change a team that won against Crystal Palace? Needs freshening up after a tough game against Monday. But who do you freshen up? You've got Ricardo Pereira. I was shouting for him at about 60 minutes going, because I said before, Harvey Barnes was the kind of player that would play and could kind of break through defenses, break lines and get into the squad. So if he's not there, I'm thinking, right, Ricardo could come on. He gets the ball, and you've seen him a couple of times drift past a couple of players. Perez didn't really offer anything. I mean, we changed that formation. I thought, great, okay, we're playing 4 at the back now. We're going to try and push on in the second half. And it just felt like they're pushing, but it's only going up by like a small amount at a time. And by the time we started to get things going, they scored. And you gotta say that's partly down Southampton. They knew the game plan. They stuck to it. Played 4-4-1, and they managed to get a point, which I think was great from their perspective. But from ours, we should have been knocking on the door a lot more. Yeah,
and you know what? Like Perez looked like a fish out of water. He looked lost, in my opinion. He didn't have it today. Madison didn't have it today. He was very boring. Is the kind of the most appropriate word I can put. It was slow. As Ethan said, Vardy missed an opportunity that could have taken the lead at 2-1, and we are really seeing a completely different version of Vardy this season right now. And I think, and you hope that he figures it out and he gets back to his ways, because the last thing you want is Vardy's scoring ability to go down like this, and a lot of fans just starting to distrust him and be like, oh, we need a striker, he's not reliable anymore. So there's a little cause for concern just with that, because with how Vardy's been playing of late, most times, before this huge drought, he wouldn't have an issue scoring any of these goals.
Yeah.
Throughout this, this drought, it has been very apparent that he's just not himself. And that could be, between, him getting, destroyed in the start of the game, his injury that he had surgery for, and, just this mental block. It could be a whole bunch of things, but I think me and you can both agree that, the amount of times that Vardy's had the opportunity to really make a difference in some of these games with a goal, he's fallen short.
Yeah, and it's not something that you would say this time last year. You would say that Jamie Vardy always managed to get it, and something isn't clicking. Something isn't quite there because, again, he's had, as you were saying, gilt edge opportunities, chance after chance after chance. In this game, he had, I'd say, 2 or 3 opportunities.
Yeah.
One of them was, again, it was straight, but you got to credit McCarthy for making a great save, and he was a fantastic player in this match, and we do have to give him credit because at the end of the day, I've seen other channels that would just be like, oh, we don't care, blah, blah, blah. Everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. And I don't want to be like that because they did prepare really well. Jamie Vardy, the thing is, I want to think of it as he's not recovered from his injury. It's blatantly obvious that he's still got that groin thing. And also, when he gets his, we thought it was I think you tweeted as well, it will be the end of the game, or you said on the group chat, be the end of the game. So the fact that he's come in, but again, it's that clinical, that final ball. I think somebody put earlier in, Diddy needs to be getting that on target. And I'm like, I'm totally with you because I was like, that's the goal. That's the goal right there. Where's it gone? Nate Mateo puts again. It must hit the target there. And I think he's correct. So he just needs to put that ball. And again, he doesn't need to smash it, but just place it on target. And we've got a goal and we're in a very different position because we'll be in the same position we were against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big highlights that I really took away from this game is we have some players that have fantastic final touches. And then we have other players whose final touches is a moonshot. And I think that's one of our big key areas that needs to be worked on because, we can rely on, Nacho. We can rely on Maddison. We can rely on Vardy, Perez at times, Castagna other times. You have players that you can rely on, but when you need those moments, where you need someone else to step up, like Evans did today.
Yeah.
He stepped up, and that's something that you need. And I think another thing is, one thing that I'm not the only one. I've spoken to a lot of people just in group chats and whatnot is, Maddison's free kicks, whenever he's been woeful. It's just been, it's something with the first man in him. Like, it doesn't matter what team, it just seems like it's always going to happen. And I don't know if that's mental or not, but that's something that needs to be worked on too. And I'm trying not to think of all the negative here. But
yeah, I think well, the thing is, I'm always thinking of, again, he has all these opportunities, but who was creating them? He was the only person going, right, I'm going to have a shot out of the goal. And it nearly worked. Perez had a very similar one about 2 minutes later where it nearly crept into the top right-hand corner. So I'm thinking, okay, if them 2 good saves by the goalkeeper, sure. But then you've got other opportunities where, they get that free kick and we could have, he just put it wide. I'm thinking, if you get that in the corner, nobody talks about the rest of your free kicks for the rest of the game. And that's the slight difference between a great player that will be mentioned again and again and where Maddison is at the moment. So I don't want to go on him too hard because sometimes it was like, okay, we'll try and pass the ball across the field. And you're like, why? Just get it in. Just hit the ball at the keeper and get it in. And Maddison was the only person that was trying that. Yes, it was too far deep, but that's because they've got 2 blocks of 4 blocking in either space. And he's got to go, right, I'm going to try something. So I don't want to hit him too hard because I'm like, at least he's trying something. And that's my perspective on it. It's slightly different. I know people always criticize me about being too positive. I mean, we are still in a very positive position, in my opinion. But he again, I think Diego was a good point. He hasn't been to that same level. He's been, not, I wouldn't say poor, but he's been 4 out of 10 since his recovery. He's falling short for sure.
Yeah, and I think the one thing with Maddison that I've really witnessed over this season and a little bit of last as well, park the bus.
That was a good one. I like that.
But with Maddison he is an extremely streaky player. If he's on form, he's unstoppable. Yeah. But if he's cold for a game or two, it's going to take him 3 or 4 games to pick it up. If he's injured and he's coming back from injury, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to see, the James Maddison that we've seen when he's just, at the top of his game for weeks. And that's one of the, I'm not going to say it's a concern, but it's something that I've really picked up this season, is that when he's streaky, he's extremely streaky.
Yeah, it's very high, very low. Like, what was it called? We were talking about this, I think, don't know if before you joined Beyond the 90, but we were talking about how many goals has Maddison scored from, remember we scored New Year's Day on 2020. From then till the end of the season, I don't think he scored a single time. And again, as you were saying, I don't think he might have assisted, but he didn't score. And it's one of those things where he comes down, and then he was coming up to his peak, and then he got injured. So that comes back down again. But players like Tielemans and Ndidi, who again, Ndidi didn't do a lot wrong, but going forward, it was just that final pass or that shot kind of summed it up. He was doing well, but it didn't quite reach that same levels.
Yeah, and that's the thing, And like I said, I'm not criticizing Ndidi or Tielemans. I think what they have done this season has been incredible.
Yeah,
and I'm definitely not going to rip them about their shots, and Ndidi missing the net, because I would miss the broadside of a barn any day of the week. It's the truth. But those are the moments where that that was the opportunity, And I think if I do go back to watch the last 20 minutes or so, because that's where really that was the parts where if Leicester really were going to take the lead, that's where it was going to happen. We had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and it was you knew that when those opportunities did not work in our favor, you knew it was not going to happen. And as everyone said, I've seen it a few times in the chat. McCarthy was just exceptional. He really was.
Really was.
He had a great game.
Yeah, and that's again, we have to give credit to the opposition, where you got to remember that, what's it called? I've put it down. Salasu again came on as a substitute, absolutely ran his socks off against Iheanacho and didn't let him have a time on the ball, didn't let him have any space. Fantastic. I mean, I looked at him and going, well, I'd love to have him at Leicester, just kind of for that kind of performance. If you can do that game in, game out, fantastic. Walker Peters, another person, stuck on the back of Vardy. When he went to have that head, he was like, nope, I'm going to knock it out. And so again, I've seen people be very negative, I think. But at the same time, let me just get the table up. Obviously, it's not ideal. We would have liked to won that game for sure. However, if we look at let's go to that Premier League table now, you can see that like Leicester City, 34.63. Yes, I know we've played a game ahead of everybody else pretty much at the moment. Still 5 points from Chelsea. 5? Yeah, 5 points from Chelsea. And then if they win, 58, they're on the same points. We're still 5 points. West Ham. So it's not that bad. Like we are. I don't say we're overrating it. Oh, my green screen. I didn't say my green screen properly. But I think, what's it called? I think he puts a good point as well. Like the corners. What's it called? We're just David. I like short corners. Come to Nacho, but some of the short corners were awful. Again, it was just aimlessly passing it around, and that's something to be criticised for. We know we're not great at corners, but it doesn't help when there was just some weird corners. I'm like, why are you doing? And not half the corners, about 3 or 4 corners I counted went straight back to the back end, in my opinion. And I was like, to the defense, and I was going, what's the point in that?
Yeah, it just, like I said, we've discussed corners, I think, all season. It's just something that is really not our friend, and when we do score on a corner, it's absolutely shocking. But I think that's one of our negative aspects of the team is, corners. We can't get them right. It's always, Maddison either just decides to make contact with the first man instead, or we moonshot it past everybody, and so, but, as you say, going back to just looking at the points, I think we're at the part of the season where we number crunch every game. Every win, every loss, every draw, not for just ourselves, but every team around us. We could be looking at, Monday could come around this week, Monday could come around and we could be talking about something completely different. to say Chelsea loses? Who's to say West Ham loses? If that happens, completely different story. If both of them win, we're talking about something completely different. So I feel like everyone's emotions are kind of in this, in this weird, bubbly, emotional chaos because I think, we all have this reminder of last season where, it looked clear as day that we were going to do something. And I'm not saying that this team...
We lose that game last season, in my opinion.
I would agree. But I would say that, I don't believe that we're gonna drop out of the top four. I think that we are going to, we are gonna have, Champions League football next season.
Mm-hmm. But, it's just not going to be now. It just knocks it back another week.
Yeah, and I think everyone's just kind of, there's that little thought in the back of their head, being like, it happened last season, and I'm like, this team's different from last season. As you said, this game last season we would have lost. It's just simple as that. But I think once next week when we face Newcastle, I think that will be a decisive game, especially with those final 3 games.
Exactly, and Newcastle are on form, but we have the team and the capacity to beat them. David put. I was just going to get onto that. David put it's still not the end of the world, which I think as well, and we both think that Newcastle wait some results and Champions League basically clinch, and I think that's basically what you're saying, Alex. Mm-hmm. That exact thing that. It's not, okay, we are down, disheartened. It's not good enough. We should have beaten that game. Yeah. Okay, we didn't. What do we move forward now? Okay, we still get behind the team. We realize that, okay, this is not going to work out the way it is, but it's been postponed. We've just put it off a little bit more, and it goes into the next match, and that's okay. We've got Newcastle at home. We've got 7 days off. Give Brendan Rodgers, give the players 2 days off. Relax, chill out for a little bit. Then we come back on Friday, get the 3 points, and then see what we can do from there. Because I think it's pretty good at the moment. Because I'm relatively calm. I think Hans put it good. If we lose to Newcastle, then I start to panic. Calm at the moment. I'm relatively calm. Again, if we lose to Newcastle, but from the way that we've been working, Alex. I can't see us losing Newcastle. However, we can't be confident going, oh, yeah, we're going to beat them because that's what we did today, and we got punished for it. Yeah,
and I think I said this in the game against Liverpool when we were absolutely destroyed against them. We learned a lesson in humility that game, and I think we learned a different form of humility this game because I don't know if I'm the only one. I don't know if you witnessed it, but just the way that they played today was very much in this, we're gonna get these 3 points. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna score in the last 20 minutes or so, and then we are just gonna play around with the ball. And when when they went down 1-0, it all changed. There was this feeling of, we might have just beat ourselves. And I think they're gonna go home tonight, and they're gonna, Rodgers is gonna be like, here's another lesson in humility. Completely different team that you faced off. It's not Liverpool, but you learned this new lesson in humility. Just because you have 11 men and the other team has 10, and they don't have some of your their best players. Like Danny Ings wasn't even there. Doesn't guarantee you are going to win. And I think today was that harsh lesson of any team can beat you.
Yeah, you're right. And this team is still young, remember? This team is still young. I'm just having a look now. Southampton had 3 shots on target. We had 9. But I thought they only had 1. I couldn't remember the penalty, obviously. However, we have a young team. They're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. They're making a lot less frequency than last season, and we've made a lot of improvements from that season. That's something to say as well. And Ethan puts another point as well. Could be if Fulham could surprise Chelsea. Yep. Burnley could make it difficult. West Ham, totally. Liverpool play Man United at Old Trafford. So you could see both them losing points, bearing in mind that Chelsea have just played on the Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm losing track of the days at the moment. I mean, today's really throwing me off because it's like we're recording on a Friday night. I mean, what is going on? Well, different time. Friday afternoon, Alex, for you?
Even it's 5:20.
Okay, it's about 10 o'clock here. So yeah. Again, my brain's all kind of, I don't know what's happening. But yeah, we shouldn't be relying on other people, but that's fine. Again, except Burnley to be a draw. I think we kind of agree there. Ethan puts another, we've had set corners and set pieces. It's just a bit like, ugh, come on, Leicester. We can. There's not many gripes we have. This is one of them that's just niggling all of our fan base. It's like, oh, we can just do something a little bit better, can't we?
Yeah, and like we've talked about
you quiet Neek. You think you can come in here with your Man United stuff? We beat you 3-1. Get out of here. We're in the final. We beat you anyway. Yeah, thanks, Neeks. He's not shaking, mate. We're all good. Oh, Europe in the final. Oh, bless. Is it because he's still holding the Liverpool thing against us? Is that why we're in the FA Cup final? You're not. Have a good time, mate. I'll see you in a bit.
But you know what? I think, it's. Yeah, set pieces is something that we're going to work on, and I hope that at the end of this season, our squad, and our coaching staff are really going to focus in on that. I really hope that that's what they really focus in on, and you know what? Maybe you'll get some summer transfer, players that come in to the squad that might help on those set pieces and corners. So, you know what? It'll be very interesting to see, what happens. We'll talk about a completely different, but yeah, I think this weekend will be very interesting just watching other clubs and seeing all those results, because what we're saying now can be completely useless in 4 days.
Yeah. Is it 4 days? Or do we play on Monday?
No, we play Wednesday.
Let me have a look. I don't even know what day it is today. Leicester
Friday.
Fixtures, May. No, I think we play on Friday, right? Or is it Friday? Yeah, I think the next time we play is Friday. Friday the 7th of May. Yeah, against Newcastle at home. Pretty sure. Anyway, again, I don't blame it. Everything's quite messed up at the moment. But yes, and again, Man United have played. Chelsea have played. This does work in our favour as well. However, I know we shouldn't be relying on everybody's other things, but it is what it is, and just having a go at Neeks is always a good bit of fun as well. So yes, go again. Since we're there, Alex Gozens is here. And before we get into that, if you're watching this, why not like and subscribe? We're trying to do the YouTube thing. It helps us out. We're trying to get to 500 by the end of the season. We'd really appreciate everybody. Give us a like. It really helps us out with the algorithm. We're trying to grow this channel. We've got the women's football coming on Sunday. Boy, that's going to be good something to watch as well. So make sure you say subscribe. And also, if you're there, click the notification bell. So every time we go live, you can put in comments and we can react to them just live. Again, like Diego Cante Friday, guys. Thank you. We're all right. And Loan put us in as well. You have top four, so no worries. We'll be watching other clubs lose points. And that's kind of, we wouldn't rely on it. But I think that's okay. Anyway, want to get onto the point. Gozens transfer, it is very exciting, Alex. And some of the transfers, normally Leicester do their stuff behind closed doors, but especially of recent, people have really been coming out with rumours that have some stick to them, not just random players, but he's going to be a very, very good player, isn't he? Hopefully, if we get him.
No, honestly, I have a real tough problem, whenever I see anything on Twitter, mentioning any players whatsoever, with transfer news, but, I do believe that if we do acquire, Gosens in the summer transfer window, I think that will be huge. You have to look at the fact that, Ricardo looks like he's not going to be fully fit for, we're probably looking for another couple months or so. I would say, I think Christmas time we were talking about it with Ricardo being fully fit, and you're looking at, James Justin, who's not going to be fit for quite some time, unfortunately. So, you have to look at him as the not replacement, but more just added depth. You have those extra players, especially if we want to compete in the Champions League.
Yes,
you want to be able to rest players here and there. And I think that's one of the things that I think we're going to see this summer is we're going to bring more players in. We might see a player being sold in order to facilitate. However, I think it's going to be quite interesting. And I think I'm excited because he has played with Castagna before. And I think that link up right there is quite exciting because they know each other. And I think that's just good news that you're going to bring another player over. And I know we were also linked to him last summer.
Yes, and well, I remember we were on. I mentioned this before on Twitter that we were on with Rob Tanner when he was talking about. Oh, we went to Athletic, and everybody was linking at Gozens, and they got Castagna instead. And everybody, oh, what? Look at this player that's turned up. However, it looked like it was going to be true. It looked like we were going for him after all. I think he said he's a Man United fan, great guy, does all sorts of content. But you owe us success. You should have. When you spent 680 mil and you couldn't beat us at home, that's on you, my friend. And you were good at home. People saying we need a right wing. Maduka looks good. Perez out. Perez wasn't great today, and he's one of these players that he comes up and down a little bit as well. But I don't think we're going to concentrate too much on the match now. I think look forwards, and some of the rumors that have been coming out, Alex, has been sensational. I mean, we are close, but everybody's talking about other stuff at the moment. But
yeah,
apparently for 10 mil, that's how Leicester do business. That's how we ripped off you 80 mil, mate. That makes sense. You need 2 more zeros to that, and we'll consider it. Okay.
Well, my favorite thing is that you spent all that money on a fridge. So that's one thing that boggles my mind. But you know what? I think when it comes back, reeling it back into the transfer news, I think one of the most exciting things, regardless about the transfer news, is that we're hearing rumors of players that would never be mentioned, being linked to Leicester, a few years ago, prior to the, us winning the league. So I think when you see these names being mentioned, you can tell that things have changed. The way that we play, we're always battling in a top 4 spot. We've only dropped once out of the top 4 since 2019. Unfortunately, and that's wild when you actually think about it. That stat's insane. But you have
players
that
have gone out as well.
Yeah, and you have that. You have players that have gone out. I think this brand new training facility is massive, and I think this has turned a lot of heads, and that I think has excited not only the fan base, but I think it's excited a lot of the players at the club, because I think they realize that with all this that the owners have put into the club, that you're going to see a lot of more players, really look at Leicester as a destination spot that they want to play at. Yes. And I think that's something that, like I said, a few years ago, we wouldn't have even been talking about it. If we were linked to, Gosens, prior to winning the league of his, of his capability, I think we'd be laughing because you'd be like, okay, who tweeted this out? We know it's a lie. So I think it's very exciting.
20 mil as well, because I think we broke the record for 9 million for Joe, and I remember thinking, whoa, look at that big amount of money.
I know. So it's an exciting time, and I think we're set for an exciting roller coaster in the summer.
We've always managed to put a positive twist on it, Alex, and I love to see it as an eternal optimist. Again, another thing as well. Ethan puts not top 4 yet. So we've seen our last 3 games of the season. In my opinion, we don't play like that the last 3 games of the season. When we come up against big opponents, Leicester City just go, right, we're going to turn up now. It's not an opportunity to throw in the towel and go, right, if this was Manchester United, I guarantee we are not playing the same thing as well. So I'm thinking it will be there. We're nearly there. I mean, we've done so well to come in such a small amount of time, and it's going to be fantastic, And Newcastle is a must-win for Leicester. The last 3 games are horrible. People keep writing us off. It's going to be the last 3 games of the season. Yes, but I've been on other channels and I've looked at the run-ins that Manchester United have, that Chelsea have. My God, they've got Real Madrid, then Manchester City, then Liverpool. It's not an ISO. We get hard. We get things that are hard because of the last 3 games of the season when we can turn up against these players. I'm not having it, in my opinion. Yes, we should have won this game and things like that. But Alex, overall, we've created a gap. We're not just there on the same amount of points as West Ham and Chelsea now. We've created a bit of a gap between those teams.
Yeah, and I'm going to reiterate, we still are the only club this season to not drop out of the top 4 all season long. So
damn straight.
So we're going to play Newcastle, and I think we're going to bring our A game. And then we are going to play, what are our final 3 games? So we got Man United, Spurs, and Chelsea. And I think we are going to walk up to every single one of those teams and we are going to play.
Yeah.
It is not a discussion of are they going to show up. This team is ready for Champions League football. And hands down, they are going to showcase it.
We are. And we're ready for it, guys. We're ready for the thing. We're ready for the football and prepare for, again, hopefully look at the transfers that are linked at the moment. We've got a great squad coming. Not just the current squad that we have at the moment. I mean, today, look, Ricardo Pereira on the bench. When he gets fully fit, how good will he be? Jamie Vardy when he gets back to full fitness. James Maddison when he comes back to form and full fitness. You're looking at players like Harvey Barnes coming back in. You're looking at James Justin coming back in. You've got players, hopefully, fingers crossed, somebody like Gozens coming in, adding that quality today that can dribble past a couple of players and make something happen. Him and Ricardo today, either side, is really mouth-watering to look at. So chin up. You know how we do here. Thank you so much. Exactly. Deo Kante. Come on, you foxes. Exactly. Big up, everybody. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you could like, that would be massive for us. Helps us grow this channel, and it helps and be along for the journey as well. Why don't you subscribe? All that good stuff. And just one thing more. Sure to pay attention to the Sunday game. We're playing at Charlton, the women, at the King Power Stadium. The first time ever they're doing that. So it'll be hosted on the FA Player. Keep an eye on our Twitter. We'll be able to fill you in with more information. Also go to Leicester City Women's Supporters Football Club. Oh, that's a mouthful. And you'll be able to find their information there as well. We'll be live after the match, but make sure you pay attention because we've got some very special surprises coming. Just as we brought you when we won the Champions League, when we won the championship, we've got another very special thing coming. So, Alex, I know you'll be paying attention, but we're excited for that one, aren't we?
Oh, hands down. I've had the day marked in my calendar. I'm pumped. So it's going to be awesome to watch. I think it's going to, my only wish at this point is that you had fans in the stadium. To have fans in the stadium for this game the crowd would be nuts. The sounds would be insane. But I think what we're going to be able to witness, regardless, is going to be something that we're all going to remember. Yeah, exactly. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff I've already said already. Smash the like button, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff here. And we'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.